Okay, here we go. The Travis Neville podcast to support the book, The Jossman Method. Um, Today I want to talk about therapy. Okay, a thing that, let's just be honest, guys have trouble with it. All right, a lot of people do. It's hey, I don't want to admit I have something wrong. I don't want to admit that I need help. I don't want to be portrayed in any way other than the John Wayne badass ass kicker, rugged independent person. That can be an issue for sure. And shit, I think one of the probably the best comment I got on the reviews on the book on Amazon, I had a woman say, "I'm proud of Travis for making self-help and therapy macho." Which, I guess that wasn't a goal. And I talk about this in the audiobook, but that wasn't a goal of mine to do that. But I suppose, yeah, I guess I made those things collide. I tend to be kind of a manly guy. I mean, I work on cars and I work out and I build shit and I like camo and, I'm kind of a manlier guy. And I know that's not terribly popular. Now this phrase toxic masculinity is all over the place and it just makes me want to puke. Anyway, the therapy piece, I'd like to broaden your definition of that. If you're listening to this and you're a guy or you're anybody and you're going through the shit, you're going through something that needs, you need a little assistance. I think that the term therapy has an incredibly broad definition. And this is a thing that I figured out as I went through all that shit myself. So I broke it down into a few different categories of things that I thought therapy really is. First, let's back up from there and say that, let's define that term therapy, all right? So when I say it, I mean anything healing, okay? If you cut your finger, like I got a bunch of them here. I'm working on that shit in my garage, and I got little cuts all over the place, and they need healing. And I'll do some things to assist in the healing, which is Neosporin and a bandage. I mean, that's my laceration therapy. You have to admit that too. If you physically have any kind of a thing, you go through a tough workout and you're sore as shit, you need some kind of therapy. Whether it's, ice or rest or wrapping some injury tightly, or you're going to need some things to help it heal. It will heal on its own. But if you can help it along using modern technology, that's going to help. And, even right down to just the basic part of it, and that's being aware that you're injured. Knowing that, all right, my leg's kind of fucked up. I'm not going to do anything tough today because I know that will extend the time it takes it to heal. Okay, and you got to look at your mind and your emotions exactly like that. Something is damaged, and it will heal on its own. But there are some things you can do to make it take longer. There are some things you can do to make it heal better and more quickly. All right, your mind, your heart, no different than your body. Okay, so that's where I come out with therapy. That's what the word means to me. It is not an admission of weakness. It isn't at all. It is, you know what? I got this fucking thing going on, and I'm going to make sure that I come out of it stronger. Like, that's how a scar works, right? That part of your skin now is tougher than everything else around it. It dealt with an issue. It dealt with some problem. It had an injury. It had a wound, and it healed stronger than it was initially, than when it was before the wound. And you got to look at your mind and your heart that way. So, again, that's up to you to decide to start thinking that way. I can't make you do that, but that's how I got myself past it. So the first therapy, again, when you go through something that's emotional and serious and difficult, is just your standard talk therapy with a professional. You're going to go and you're going to sit down and you're going to talk for 50 minutes. And, that pro might really help you. If you get it, and I'm going to tell you, that's going to come down to whether or not you get a good one. That's step one. If you've got a good one, and by good one, what I mean is somebody who is going to fucking give you feedback. my God, I've been through therapy several times, both as with couples and on my own. And the bad ones are the ones that just sit there and fucking listen. How does that make you feel? How does that make you feel? And just make you talk, and maybe you kind of have to figure it out on your own if you can. Otherwise, you just blab for 50 minutes. You know what I mean? That might help you. You might just need to literally talk about it. But I need a little bit of perspective, some objective perspective. Somebody who is not me listening to me and going, hey, well, you just said this. I mean, what did you mean by that? And hey, could this possibly mean this other thing? I need a little feedback on that shit, okay? And that's why, you know, I generally don't go to the talk therapy professional first when I go through something very difficult. But I think that's mostly because I'm so lucky that I have all these other forms that I'm going to talk about here today that do help me. And they're not as, I don't know, unless you got a therapist that you've already built a pretty good relationship with, it takes a long time for them to even just get to know you before they can even start to tell you some shit. And I've talked to friends of mine who are therapists who say that there's a school of thought out there that you need to know somebody, you know, for a year or 10 years or something before you can even give them any kind of feedback. And fuck, I don't have that kind of time. I don't wait that long. I want to get my life going. You know what I mean? So the talk therapy with a professional, not to be underestimated. It is definitely a thing that can help you, especially if you don't have anyone else around or anything else around that's going to do that. But I think, you know, a big part of that, just to be able to go to therapy, first you got to say, all right, I need to talk to somebody about this. So you got to admit there's a problem, right? And you don't just say it out loud. If you don't really believe it, like this whole court-ordered shit, court-ordered therapy, that's a fucking joke. Like, you guys remember Good Will Hunting, right? So this kid, the court ordered him to go to therapy, and he got a really good therapist. Robin Williams was no joke, and it just happened that they had a lot of things in common, and he really got something out of it, you know, but it took a long time to get there, you know, because he went in there trying to prove that he didn't need therapy, and he was only there because he had to be, and I'm only here to avoid getting fined, right? Yeah, generally that doesn't work. That's why it's a movie, because it's a weird, unusual situation, and good for him. He made it. Yeah, you got to want it. You got to go in there knowing that there's an issue, or it's not going to work. Let's be honest. It's not going to work. But that's the first kind of therapy. It's definitely a thing that you should, you know, if you're in it, if you're in the middle of the shit, check it out. Look at your insurance package. It might even be free. I mean, what are you doing from 7 to 8 o'clock on a Tuesday night? Go down there and check it out. Find somebody, get it done. The one that I prefer more than anything else, if I'm going through something, I mean, it's the same kind of thing. It's talk therapy, but I'm gonna call one of my friends, sometimes one of my parents, but I'm not 100%. I'm a little different with my parents than I am by myself. You know, there's things you don't want your parents thinking about you. I don't want to talk about sex in front of my parents. It's just weird. You know, it feels awkward. So, you know, sometimes that's not going to work. But with my friends, I don't care. I'll talk about it because they're going through the same shit. So I've got, you know, good friends who, depending on where I am, I can count on them. I can call them up and say, hey, dude, I need half an hour of your time. And I want you to tell me what you think. I can talk out loud to myself if I just want to talk. But if I'm talking to you, it's because I want to know what you think, Dave or Jason or Joe or Eric or Andy. I want to know what you think. What do you think? Tell me what you think. You know me really well. There's that old philosophy is you got to know somebody for a year or 10. I can't remember what it is. A year or 10 years. They've all known me 10 years. What the fuck am I doing wrong, dude? Be honest with me. I'm coming to you because I want to hear what you think. Tell me if I'm fucking something up. Don't hold back. That's not going to help me. Tell me honestly what the fuck is going on. You know, and I realize that right there is a tough thing for a lot of people. I have to talk about this with the coaches that I work with. If I come to you and say, hey, here's a suggestion, or here's the thing I need you to do differently, I'm not coming after you as a person. I just, listen, man, we're in this situation, this one little instance. I need you to please do this thing for me. Can you? You know, sometimes people have trouble with that. Kids definitely do. Sometimes. You handle it right, they're fine. But I need it. I need that feedback. I want to know what you guys think. Tell me what you think. So there's very valuable talk therapy. I will get You know, I realize that depending on what I want to hear, this is going to be a little weird, but, or maybe hard to follow. But if I want to hear a certain thing, if I want to hear, just do the right thing, be a good man, your heart's in the right place, I support you, I call my mom. You know, that's kind of a cop-out, too, because she's never going to tell me if I'm doing something wrong, and I'm probably not going to tell her the wrong things I'm actually doing because I don't want her to, you know, have a bad opinion of me. But if I need to hear, motherfucker, get your shit together, and I talk to my friend Clint, he will tell me, you're fucking it up, dude. Just fucking don't fuck it up anymore. Get your shit together. So, yeah, that... Again, like I said, depending on what I want to hear. And I'll learn a lot about where I am in the situation based on who I call, who I choose to call. I'll know, okay, I probably want to hear this. You know, if I want to hear bitches ain't shit, I call my buddy Brian. You know, that's what he's going to tell me. Yeah, so there's that. So there's the two kinds, I think, that where you know, where you're talking shit out. Okay, you can either do it with a pro or you can do it with somebody who knows you real well, but choose wisely on that. You know, used to date this girl, and there was a big issue in our relationship. She was a lot younger than I was, and her best friend was someone even younger than she was. So, I mean, between myself and the friend, there was probably 15 years in age difference. And so she'd go to this friend who was in college still, and I'm like 40. She's going to this girl in college and asking her advice about relationships. She doesn't fucking know anything. Like, the last serious relationship she had was in high school, and it was like 3 months. And you're going to her for relationship advice? What the fuck are you doing? You know, come on. You got to be able to pick somebody better than that. You know, I know she's your close friend and everything, but I've got really close friends that I don't ask for advice. I got people that I ask for advice that are not my close friends. You know, think it through, all right? Yeah, of course she said every time, he sucks, you gotta leave him. Well, 'cause she was fucking single too, and she hated men, and she's probably still single. Yeah, she's nice enough, but man, neurotic as hell, big fucking problem. Somebody's gonna marry her and be up to their ass in bullshit, that's for sure. Just ask Brian, bitches ain't shit. Anyway, I don't really mean that. You know, that's just a Snoop Dogg quote, everybody knows that. So there's the two kinds of actual talk therapy. I use several things that have nothing to do with talking, usually, that will help me a ton. One is working out. I talk about that all the time. And I've said this before. I will go into it. And it's, you know, lifting weights is great, and I like to do it. And it's fun. It makes you look strong, and you are strong. And there's all of that. But if I want to feel better, like emotionally feel better, I got to do some cardio, and it's got to be hard. Like, I can't just walk on the treadmill. Not that I would ever attempt to do that, but I want to go for a hard run. I want to go on a difficult spin situation, or do like a CrossFit style workout where my heart rate's up. I'm full sweat, breathing out of my mouth for 20, 30 minutes. I do that. It doesn't matter what it was before. I feel better about it when I'm done. It's crazy. I get in the car and I'm like, yep, fucking worked again. I feel better. You know, and I use that kind of therapy every day. So working out, yeah, that's a kind of therapy. It is a way to help heal yourself, to help yourself feel better. It fucking works. Works every time. So that's not to be discounted. I mean, working out is a huge one for me. Or anything, yeah, that's physical. It's biological. It creates those feel-good hormones, and you feel better. Works every time. Along those same lines, you know, I've got a friend named Jason, and we refer to things that we do, like projects that we build, as therapy. He's working on like a 51 Ford, I think it is right now. Pretty advanced stuff. The last thing he did was a Dodge Power Wagon. It turned out great. He sold it at like a Mecum auction. He builds nice stuff. He's way beyond me as far as that goes. I'm working right now on a go-kart buggy. You know, I'm just starting, but it's fucking therapy. You know, I don't know what it is. I'm going to guess why it works this way, but if I go spend 3, 4, 5 hours in the garage in the evening or on a Sunday, my mind is focused on this thing that I'm doing. All right. And that's taken a lot of like my head goes a million miles an hour, you know, just flying through thoughts and feelings all the time. And I never really work out a whole thing. I never really get to a complete thought. It's just random stream of consciousness, right? If I've got a thing I'm doing with my hands in front of me, if I'm working on a thing or I'm solving a problem, enough of my mind is focused on that what's left to think about other things, it's like unencumbered by all this bombardment of outside thoughts and feelings, so it can kind of think and function individually. I first noticed that when I started painting and doing construction when I was in college, and then while I was teaching. My mind would be someplace else completely when I was doing that stuff. Like the work just happened in front of my face. It was the weirdest thing. It was like I was on cruise control, and I was enjoying being in my head and thinking about some other thing, like working something out. And it's that way when I'm in the garage working on stuff. I'm working on this buggy, and if I'm trying to sort out some feelings I've got on a girl I'm dating or whatever, I'll usually come to some conclusions on it. And if I don't, by the end of it, I've accomplished some shit. Like I can look at it and see, all right, I welded up every piece on that frame today, ground off all the rust. You know, I moved this gas pedal, or I built this swing arm assembly. Now the engine, I can install it. Like having that project, to me, the actual project itself, incredibly helpful. And on top of that, and this is not to be underestimated, okay? Not to be underestimated. You only have so much time in the day to think. I know that's hard to comprehend. I know that's hard to quantify, but you got an hour, let's see, in an average hour of thinking in a day. Let's say you're awake for 16 hours a day. That's saying you're getting 8 hours of sleep a night. Good for you. You have 16 hours of thinking time. And if you have this project going like I do, I might have just supplanted a total of 3 hours a day that I'm thinking about the project, right? And then that's a positive, happy thought. You're thinking about, all right, well, how am I going to move this, or where am I going to put that? Am I going to add some supports here? What parts do I need to order next? What's the next part of this project that I need to tackle? Do I need to go get some parts? Like these thoughts, like when I'm laying in bed and I'm thinking about, all right, what's the next step here? How am I going to do this? That 16 hours that you had of thinking, you just took 3 hours of it that might have been like burned and wasted and spent thinking about whatever difficult thing you're going through. It might have been. And instead you're thinking about something positive and productive. So you just took a certain percentage of those negative thoughts and deleted them. You moved them away. And you're creating this habit of, I'm going to think about something else instead of that. I would rather think about this positive, happy thing that I'm working on. And there will be a time later where I can think about and deal with this negative thing. Maybe it's through some talk therapy with your friends or with a professional. You can deal with it then. You can schedule your thinking day in that way. You know what I mean? Will that help you? Fuck yeah, it will. Because I'll tell you, and I talk about this in the chapter about construction projects. I can't remember what they are. Chapter 6, I talk about rebuilding in this house that I live in, actually. And at the end, I talk about forgiveness and the process of forgiveness and what it really means and how it helps you. And at the end, the last step of forgiveness is saying, I am not going to continue to beat myself up about this mistake that I made or about this thing that went wrong. I'm not going to, say you go through a breakup, right? And it wasn't your fault. She cheated on you. She fucked up. You did everything right. It's not on you, but you're suffering anyway. So there was no mistake that you made. I've been in this trap where I'm like, I deserved it. Cosmically, I fucking deserved it. You know, I screwed over this other person, or I'm not very nice when I drive, or I'm not that good of a person. Stop that shit. Stop that shit. That fucks you up. It does not help you, that's for sure. I would say it definitely will bring you down. You can't be thinking that way. So if you can delete some of those thoughts and replace them with this positive thing that you're working on, that's why the project is therapy. It's not just the work. It's the thinking about the work, and it's the thinking time. Like my cabin. I built this cabin up north I started 15 years ago, and I'm still working on it. It's a lot of fun. And when I was teaching, I would have a picture of my cabin as the home screen wallpaper on my desk computer in my classroom. And I wasn't there, obviously. I was in my classroom. I wasn't at my cabin. I was having a rough day, or things were tough, or whatever. You're just stressful. You're just your typical day. I'd get 30 seconds or between classes or at lunch, and I'd sit down and I'd look at that picture, and just for 5 seconds, it would make me feel good. You know, it would make me think positive thoughts, which that shit is healing. It heals you. It heals your mind. It heals your everything to think those happy thoughts. So I've always said that the value of the cabin isn't, I mean, it's awesome to go up there. I love it. I have a great time. The memories are fantastic. It's been 15, coming up 16 years we've been going there. Myself, my friends, my family. It's been fantastic. And that's great. But what's also great is just the thinking about it when I'm not there. I'm getting ready for a trip, or planning a project, or just, you know, laying down at night and imagining I'm laying in my loft with my skylight above me. You know, those things heal you. They make you better. They make your insides get stronger. They do. That's for sure. So, yeah, doing something with your hands, building a project, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be automotive. It can be a house. It can be if you knit. I don't care. Just do something to bleed off some of that energy into a positive thing. And again, the thinking about the project, you know, that's super valuable. So then I'm going to use a really big word. Well, it's not a big word, but it has big repercussions, I suppose, and that's meditation. Now, meditation, you know, it's not sitting there. Oh, I mean, maybe it is that for you. But I'm going to say meditation isn't what it is. It's just thinking with some structure. It's focusing your thinking onto something. You're choosing to think about a certain topic. And I can remember, and this will give you a little insight into the whole marijuana arrest deal, but I would come back. I had a buddy that I taught with when I was in Sturgis. Great dude, close friend. And he was a pot guy. And he got me interested in it. I never had really been. I'd smoked pot a few times in college and tried a few things, and, you know, it just wasn't in my rotation. He's like, man, this is going to help you. He knew I was about to be going through a divorce and shit like that. So I would come home from work, and she'd work till fucking 10 o'clock every night, because I assume because she didn't want to see me, but I didn't want to see her either. So I'd come home, I'd get super high, and I'd float in my hot tub, and then I would meditate. I would focus my thinking on, all right, what's going on here? What is my situation? How do I feel about it? How do I think about it? What's the right thing to do? How do I feel? How do those things match up? Are my feelings the same as my actions right now? And I would really grab a hold of that and try to come up with some conclusions. And today, that was 8, almost 9 years ago. I still will. I mean, this is rare. Every few years, I'll get into something where I really need to straighten my head out, and I'll get high to do it. And it fucking works every time. You know, I'll grab my phone and I'll text myself the conclusions I've come up with. It's great because I go into my texts to myself, and man, there's some brilliant shit in there. There's some other stuff that's just dumber than hell, you know, because I was high. But so I don't want to tell you got to be high to meditate, not at all. But you know, sometimes it helps me. It slows down my brain and allows me to focus, and that's great shit. But meditation, how does it help you? Again, you define it as you will. Maybe you just go on your lunch break and you leave the office and you sit in your car and you eat, and then maybe you just listen to some easy music and, all right, how do I feel about this thing? What do I think I might want to do? You know, and come up with a plan. You know, just meditate on it. Focus your thinking on that item, that thing, whatever is going on in your life that's difficult. You know, and how do you do that? I'll give you a couple examples, things that work. One of these is in the book, the other one's not. You can take a thing and follow it out. Well, I'll tell you that second because I might forget this first one. I like to take a thing and just make a plan, make any plan. All right. I'll give you an example. I am concerned with how I'm coaching. I'm concerned with how I'm going to stop. I'm a defensive coordinator. This one team, they do X, Y, and Z. Well, I'm not sure exactly how. And say I've already talked to everybody and I know I've got all the information that I can have. I just come up with a plan. There are probably other plans and a different scheme might work better. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But you got to have something. You got to take, and I'm big on this, you got to take imperfect action. Okay? Don't wait until you think you know everything before you try to start. Shit, look at this podcast. The first few, the audio didn't even work. You know, I'm learning how to talk to people. I'm learning how to engage with the camera. I'm learning how to do all this shit. I mean, and I'm putting it on YouTube. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Take imperfect action. Don't be afraid to do that. And here's the thing. Once you have a plan, it eliminates the tension of not having a plan. Like for me, if I have a plan, I have an idea how things are going to go, even if it's not a good one. It beats the shit out of not knowing what I'm going to do. Okay, it's a stress reliever. So I go in with a plan. That doesn't mean you're married to it and you gotta ride it till the end of the fourth quarter. If it doesn't work, you make adjustments. I mean, that's what good coaches do, right? And I mean, I'm going to say this a million times in my life, but football, it is life. And that's why I like it. You know, I don't love football. These guys that I work with, they do. These other coaches, they fucking love football. I mean, they're thinking about it 24/7. I'm not. I like it. I like football. What I love is that it mirrors life. There isn't a thing you're going to learn in football that doesn't also work in life. And that's what makes it so good. I mean, probably other sports are that same way, but there is no more complete team game. Like you got 11 guys that all have to be in synchronous harmony, you know, for it to really work well on offense, for sure. So that's the one thing. Make a plan. Don't be afraid to take imperfect action. And the second thing is, man, we were talking about meditating. Anyway, it'll come back to me later. But that must have been the pot. It was like a pot memory lapse. Exercise, talked about that. Talked about working with my hands. Oh, another thing I wanted to mention about the meditation piece. I started to talk about this, that beating yourself up about mistakes, it's going to fuck with you. Okay, it's going to make it worse. You have to go in knowing. Let me back up from there. My buddy Dave and I, we talk a lot about the difference and the combination of your heart and your mind. Your heart obviously is your feelings. Your mind is the logic part of you. And I like to take it a step further and tell you that your heart is the little kid of you, not your inner child. Maybe, fuck, whatever, if that's what blows your hair back. I still remember what it felt like to be a little kid. I remember how big positive things were. I remember how devastating negative things were. And you like it or not, there's a part of you that's just like that. And as time has gone on and you've matured and gotten older, you have kind of repressed it. You've used your adult self, your mind, your logic to suppress that. And usually that's good. That's going to keep you functional in the standard sense socially in a job situation. You can't just be freaking out and be emotional all the time, or people are going to think you're immature, or they're going to think you're weak. It's not good. So that's good, but you can't completely ignore it at all. And when you're in this meditative state, if there's a thing that's not going on well with you, I've found this anyway, it's you have a conflict between how you feel and what you think you should do, what you're actually doing and what you think you should be doing, or how you feel and how you think. There's a conflict. To me, that's hard. You have to make allowances for those feelings. You can't just ignore them. They can't just go away. You know, and to that end, in this meditative, when you're doing some meditating, thinking about a thing, it's okay to say, you know what? I know I knew from the beginning she was going to be trouble. But God, I just wanted to fall in love with her. She's just awesome. I wanted to be around her. I wanted to spend time with her. I knew it was going to end badly. And I let myself do that. And it's okay sometimes. But then you get to the end. So that's your mind going, okay, heart, you can have this one. Go ahead. But then your mind needs to come in at the end and go, okay, buddy, I'm not going to let you suffer anymore. I'm not going to let this go. I know that you're sad. I know that feels bad, but I got to pull you out of this situation because it's not, at this point, we know it's going to go bad. It's going to keep going bad. So I got to pull you out. I'm sorry, man. I know you don't like it. But having that kindness between your logic and your heart, that's going to help you invariably. If you're like, God damn, I'm such a pussy, I shouldn't have. Man, you got to learn to be kind to yourself. I'm telling you. Because what it is that's the best therapy there is. To say, buddy, I'm sorry. I know that hurts. You know, when you get a cut on your hand, you don't take sand and go rubbing it on there. You know, like, why does that hurt? You suck because that hurts. I'm going to make it hurt worse. It's not going to help you heal, man. It's not going to get you through it. And you're not creating a habit of being a pussy. That's not what you're doing. You know what I mean? You're not doing that by admitting that, okay, I'm going to make some allowances for my emotions here. That's okay. I mean, it's like, let's look at it this way. You're buying a car. All right, I got X amount of money to spend, and I need something that gets me from A to B. It needs to be all-wheel drive. Okay, because I've driven in snow, and that makes me feel better, and it's safe, and blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is. That's your mind. Well, your heart's going to be, I want that motherfucker to be fast. You know, I want it to look good. And that's the part that you have to make allowance for that. You got to be like, well, okay, maybe I won't get the fastest one, but I'll get the one that looks pretty cool with the cool lights on the inside and stuff like that. Like we can give the heart a little bit here while the mind gets satisfied. You would do that in a car shopping process and something outside of yourself. And you sure as hell would with one of your friends, unless you're a complete fucking asshole, you would say, hey, buddy, I know, man, it sucks. That's hard. I'm sorry you're going through that. Let me see how I can help you. You would be kind to one of your friends. At least you should be. Why would you not be kind to yourself in the same way and be okay with, hey, you know, I made this mistake and I know I made it for good reasons. I know that I was there for the right reasons. Yeah, that's key. You've got to be kind to yourself. That's huge. Again, we're talking about therapy and what's going to make you heal more quickly and get you over a difficult thing more quickly. Being kind to yourself is key. I can't oversell that. Learn to be nicer to yourself. You have to. Another kind of therapy. I hesitate to mention this because it flies right in the face of chapter 2, and it's alcohol therapy. How do I frame this where it doesn't sound terrible? It fucking works. You know, if you're really in the shit and you just need a mental vacation for just a couple hours, if you get shit drunk, you won't feel it as much. It's true. It works. It will dull the pain. It does work. Now, you are fucking around with the dragon because the next day you got a straight up hangover, and I talk about this in the book too. The emotional hangover is far worse. If you're doing that to dull some pain that you had prior, you're going to feel it way worse the next day than you did before you did the drinking. So fucking be cautious about that. I'm not even going to call that therapy. That's just kind of being stupid. But, I mean, here's where the being kind to yourself works the next day. Hey, you know, I just needed a couple-hour vacation from carrying that burden. You know what I mean? From thinking about that horrible thing. I just needed that little vacation, and so I'm going to be kind to myself about making that decision. I knew that I'd have to deal with this today, but last night I got to laugh and have fun and kind of forget about it for a little bit, so it was worth it. You know, you deserve that. Deserves a tough word. People love to self-apply. I deserve this. I deserve that. Fuck you. You know what? You know what you deserve? You deserve exactly what you get in most cases. It's true. I mean, there's no cosmic fucking, star-crossed alignment that has, I have a business, and so far I've been able to make a living on it for the last 5 years, and it's because I fucking get on the phone. It's because I do the marketing. It's because I do all the things I need to do to make the business go. That's why I'm not, I mean, there's some luck in there, but you make your own luck is what I think. That's what I've experienced. Get out there and grind, and I don't know. I think you get the point I'm trying to say. So that's therapy. That's my definition. Anything that's going to help you heal better and or more quickly and or more completely. I guess that's better. Same thing. Don't shoot it down, guys. I don't care how old you are or how, my buddy's dad used the term hippy dippy to describe, he's dating himself. The guy's fucking 70 plus, using a term like that about therapy. But that's just he's a successful guy. He probably has a different way to kind of cope with difficult things. And that man in particular has been through cancer and a few other things, a few times actually. So he gets through shit. And he's always got a smiley attitude. But everybody's got their way. You find your therapy or therapies and engage in them. I mean, that's going to help you, okay? And fucking be kind to yourself, all right? There's going to be times when you can be hard on yourself. Shit. If you know you were lazy and that's why you didn't make any money, or that you called into work because you were hungover and you lose your job, that's on you, man. You want to be hard on yourself, you can. But when it comes to the emotional stuff, I mean, tough love, most of the time, once you're an adult and you've been through all that, it's probably not going to help you. I don't know. That's just what I think. I'm no expert. My name's Travis Neville. I wrote this book called The Jossman Method. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it in paperback or ebook. You can get it on Kindle. You can get it at barnesandnoble.com. You can get it at Totem Books in Flint. You can get it in Marquette. You can get it in Petoskey, Harbor Springs. You can go check it out in Ortonville and Holly, Michigan. You can get it all over the place. And again, the Audible version is now available on Audible. And, I've got lots of other podcasts you can listen to too. So happy Monday, everybody. That's therapy. Talk to you soon.